Boys, I have got one simple question. Are you still a believer? We have just got a massive bomber from David Ornstein that Manchester United are in talks with Brighton to sign Carlos Baleba. The actual story is that Manchester United are closing in a deal for Carlos Baleba from Brighton. Manchester United have offered 60 plus 5, which is below Brighton's valuation. But amicable talks continue as all parties work to reach an agreement. Wow. Wow. This is big news, people. And there's so many different elements to this, but the player himself has been much questioned by Manchester United fans over this last season in particular, because he definitely had a drop-off. One thing is quite clear: Manchester United want this player and trust their data that he is the man for this midfield. And I agree. I think he is a brilliant addition when you consider the players that we have actually bought already this season. Santos, Tielemans, Mainoo, all technical. Got a couple of passes there. You've got a carry there in Mainoo. We really needed some legs. We needed an athletic footballer who can cover ground. Now, people narrow that down to him playing as a 6 and covering laterally. That might not be the case in some games. Carlos Baleba might press, might go high and get Manchester United up the pitch by doing that type of stuff. So I think as a combination with the other midfielders we've bought, it is an exceptional profile for this Manchester United team. Now, obviously the deal is not done. 60 plus 5 has reportedly been turned down by Brighton, so we're going to go back in with another bid. The news is that Manchester United want this deal done fairly quickly. If it's under 70 to 75, I'm all aboard that deal, especially in this market. I did a video earlier in the week saying that I think Ineos have failed in this transfer market because they haven't brought players in with enough time. That doesn't mean it's going to be a bad transfer market, because you can still go and sign Baleba. You could still dream and go and sign a Lewis Hall or a striker or whatever it might be. I don't think we'll sign Lewis Hall with this signing, but that's a different story. So Carlos Baleba is a really good addition. If we get him for under £70 million, I think that's a really astute signing. When you talk about Alex Scott, more technical type footballer, £80 million. Adam Wharton, £80 to £90 million. Mateus Fernandes, £85 million. He's well within that bracket of calibre of player. He definitely is. Now, you can talk as much as you want about last season. No one wants to talk about the season before. The season before that, for me, Carlos Baleba in that season was better than what Elliot Anderson did last season. He just was. And Baleba is not going to lose his physical attributes. He is always going to have them to rely on. And as much as we want these technical, nice, combination footballers who get involved and make lovely passes, you also need someone who just has that physical edge. Like Dorgu he is the epitome of that, in terms of he's a little bit raw, he's a little bit unrefined, he's a little bit dirty on the ball, but he's got that physical base that sometimes you just want him in your team. Michael Carrick quite clearly appreciates that side of the game, because Dorgu plays. He just plays left wing. It's obviously played various different positions for Carrick. So I think having that base throughout some of your squad members is very important. And this changes the landscape for Manchester United. It genuinely does, because I was looking at Santos and Tielemans and saying it wasn't that they're bad players. It was that the combination of them three it's not a very wide combination in terms of the styles that you can play. And it's also not great in combinations individually, because the similar-ish. I know Santos is a little bit more defensive, a little bit more duel heavy, but the similar-ish, you know what I mean. Whereas this gives you so many different options. And Carlos Baleba's also left-footed, which I think is a really nice aspect and a balance to this midfield. So I've long said that I think he's the perfect partner for Mainoo, because if Kobbie wants to go into the 8, into the 10 and get on the ball and carry and influence the game that way, that's fine. Carlos Baleba can kind of sweep in behind and cover up. Where if Mainoo wants to come in deeper and get on the ball, right, Baleba, you go in there and you press. And it's the same with Tielemans and it's the same with Santos. And if you want to be really sturdy, Baleba and Santos, I think that's a really sturdy central midfield pairing. I'm really excited about this one, if you can't tell. Get down in the comments, let me know what you think of BALEBA. There'll be some people out there I know for a fact do not like BALEBA based on what happened last season, and that's fine. You're allowed your opinions, but I just think the attributes that he's got are vitally important to this Manchester United midfield. And it also changes the landscape on how you look at this transfer market in terms of the prices we've paid. We've all criticised Ineos for not paying the Fernandes fee or not paying the Tonali fee, or a lot of us have criticised that. But if we get a midfield of Santos, Tielemans and BALEBA for, what, 140, 150 million pounds, I think that's a really astute way to spend your money. And if you look at the age profiles, you've got Santos, 22, Carlos BALEBA, 22, Kobe Mainoo, is he 21, I think. And then you've got Tielemans, the experienced one, at 29-year-old. But you've also got Bruno Fernandes at 31 in front of them. So you've still got experience in that midfield. But you've got a really nice core that can just build and develop and grow together. Like, we're always thinking about this next season. So I think BALEBA will be really good this year, and Mainoo will be really good, and Santos will be really good, and all that type of stuff. Where will they be when they're 25? If you keep all of them three players together, what is that midfield at 25-year-old? And you look at the players coming through the academy, the likes of Jim Thwaites, can he step into that Tielemans role? Like, that's a very ambitious kind of suggestion that he can do that. But do you know that mould of player in terms of a progressor, someone who gets on the ball from deep and dictates play, but can also facilitate further up the pitch? Can he be that? I think it's a really interesting dynamic, and this is long-term planning for Manchester United. I've been frustrated for the last few weeks. I definitely have. A lot of you will have been. But Carlos BALEBA is a really nice addition for Manchester United. We'll have to see. We might get the here we go in the next day or two. Maybe today. It's moving very quick. If you go on Twitter now and scroll by BALEBA, it's moving very quick. I think Romano's actually done his here we go, which he doesn't normally do at this stage. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the contract is, what the price is, because obviously BALEBA has heavily wanted to join Manchester United. That has been quite clear for the last 12 to 18 months, or whenever. When did we last engage? It was last summer, wasn't it? And then January we had a little bit of a chat. Really exciting. He's still injured. He did his ligaments, didn't he? That came out a couple of weeks ago as well. So that's another aspect to this, but reportedly that's only a 2 or 3 week thing. So he'll be back in training. He'll be back ready for when the Champions League, when the cup competitions kind of get into position. Premier League, so he's got that kind of barrier. So he's got a couple of weeks really off injured to come in and settle. He'll meet his teammates. He'll get to know them. He'll get to know Carrick. He'll see a bit of the system in progress. He'll get time to settle in. He'll get time to move house. And then he can come into the team and do his business. I'm really happy with this. Really happy. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. And I will see you on Saturday after Hull, after a 3-0 victory. See you in the next one.